Hi, how's it? Today is day 2 of the series 100 Days with Python. So, we're going to talk about variables, what they are, and how they're used in programs. To start off, what are variables? Well, a variable is an object that we use to store some type of data or value. This is because we want to avoid hard coding that value in and having to write it out each time we want to use it in a program. A variable is analogous to a box. Now imagine a box in your home. Initially, that box can be empty, so you name it My Tools. Now, if you go on and buy a hammer, you can place that hammer in the box My Tools. So now wherever you are in your home, you know where you've stored your hammer. So if you were to work on a project that needs that hammer, you would just fetch it in the box called My Tools, and you always find it there. Variables act in a similar way. You can store some value within your variable in order to use it wherever you want in your program. So for example, these are some examples of variables. We have a variable here called pet type where we store the value dog, pet name where we store the value gizmo, and also can run and speed. We can use the value stored in the variables here instead of hard coding them in our program. So for example, this is a little program that I wrote. It's going to print out these statements and also has a conditional statement. So we can go ahead and fill it out. So now as you can see, we didn't have to hard code the values of the variables in. We can just use the variables themselves. So if you run this program, you can see that it works. The print statements come out perfectly, as well as the if condition works. So now we don't have to write out and hard code the values we have. We can just reuse them as many times as we want throughout our program. We can also change and manipulate the variables however we want. For example, instead of saying the pet type is a dog, we can change it to cat. And instead of saying can run evaluates to, can run is storing the value true, can change it to false. And this will be updated when we run our code. So let's run our code. As you can see, our program did something different this time since we changed the value of the variables. We can change our variables once. This saves us time from having to change every occurrence of the value in our program. So variables are a great and essential part of any program. One last thing, there are a few rules we must follow when we name our variables. So number one would be that a variable's name cannot begin with a number. So for example, one pet equals to one pet is not a variable, so it's invalid. Number two, a variable can only contain letters, numbers, and the underscore character. So for example, name, this is not a variable. So this line is invalid. Number three is that a variable can only be one word. So For example, pet name equals to. This is not a variable. This line is invalid. So we have to use an underscore to join words together, as in snake case, or use Pascal or camel case. Like, for example, pet name is valid. Pet name is valid, and also this is Pascal's case, and also pet. These are all valid names for a variable. The fourth condition is that a variable cannot be the name of a keyword. So, for example, you can't say true equals. This is not a valid line. So, that just about covers it. This has been variables, how they're used, and what they are. I'll be back again with a video for Python data types tomorrow. So, bye for now.